So here at Superbooth with BirdKids, can you introduce yourselves, who you are, what you do?
Hi, I'm Mike from BirdKids. We're based in Vienna. Basically what we are manufacturers of electronic instruments. What we do is we actually want to produce full electronic instruments for musicians, for people in the studio, for experimental engineers, for experimental artists and performance artists. What we do is basically research into any facet of electronic music possible. Our main line is the Bateleur VCO, and this is a full system. It's a 42 HP system based around the discrete VCO.
So, what was the decision in making the oscillator and the filter in one module as opposed to two?
Well, we started out with, initially we wanted to do the best VCO oscillator, the pure oscillator we can do. And we've centered on a special UGT transistor idea we wanted to explore. And we got it to sound exactly the way we like it. But then we noticed, okay, there are a couple of things that could be maybe potentially interesting for the modular users, in the sense that you can wave shape those waveforms, and those waveforms being completely analog and discrete, produced in their production. Some people would probably prefer to have some control over the frequency content. So we said, okay, why not implement a filter, which is a 4-pass low-pass filter, and give people the ability to actually smooth it out, add frequency control over it. And then when we've settled on the design, we said, yeah, well, all right, it's a full filter. It's actually a standalone filter. You can actually track it 1 volt per octave parallel to the oscillator, but you can also offset it and send it into self-oscillation, and in this way it becomes an oscillator in a pure sense as well.
So that was going to be my next question, that obviously the filter wave shapes the VCO, but that will oscillate as well. You've got, is it quite a novel approach to through zero FM between the two? One can FM the other. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, absolutely. You can actually send the filter into self-oscillation and then actually modulate the VCO in a way that you plug the filter output into the frequency modulation. You can modulate it linearly or true zero frequency modulation. When you're in true zero and it detects the threshold level, you've got your white light on, and actually it will oscillate with the filter. So, and I'm sending the filter into self-oscillation, and I can oscillate the VCO. That's it.
So, I mean, I've got these modules in, and they just sound fantastic. It just sounds great. So the most fun I've had with analog for a while. I got really heavy into digital oscillators, but
thank you very much.
It sounds great. And the mixer, the noise normaled onto the mixer is a nice idea as well. Is this a new expander to the left? Or is power? Or
it's a power. Yeah, it's a power module. It's 4 HP power and MIDI. But the coolest thing about it is it's actually powered by micro USB-B. So you can actually plug this thing into the wall with your phone connector. It's just a regular 2 ampere or 1 ampere phone connector, the one you're using to control your phone, mobile phone. And it powers the entire system. 1 ampere is actually already sufficient. With 2 ampere, you're on the super safe side. And it's a 16-bit pitch CV conversion with modulation, velocity, gate, whatever you like. It's all there. We've got a new ADSR. It's a digital ADSR, 4 stages, but you also have AHDSR, where the decay stage actually becomes the hold, and the decay is a mirror reflection of the A. Right. Then you have 3 modes. You can send it into ADSR, ADR looping, AHDSR. There is also a completely looping mode. And there is 4 different time values. You can have very snappy bass lines, you can have long leads, and you can have swell strings, whatever you like. As I said, and as you said correctly, my actual approach to modular synthesizers is make an electronic instrument that's a full electronic instrument and has musical capabilities, but then give people the ability to control it via voltage.
Yeah.
And what we do is we approach everything from a musical viewpoint. Does it sound good? If it doesn't sound good, it's not a product.
Yeah. Yeah, perfect. So Is this just something to help your own case along at the top, this sort of 1U bus, or is this a system you're working on?
Yes, it's a system we're working on. It's actually 104 1U. It's going to come out in 84 as well. It's a multiple system where basically whichever signal you plug in, we're gonna send it over the entire bus. And you can actually also plug. We thought about a lot of the guys are doing fantastic stuff with open source hardware like Arduino systems, and we want to give them some forum as well. So here you have like simple jumper wire cable connections. You can plug your Arduino in here, you can get your signal out here, and if you're crafty, you can do your own cable that's actually just going into your modular labels. Use that as a CV. What we're going to do in the future is we're going to integrate a digital controller, a polyphonic controller, and this polyphonic controller is going to make use of the entire system as a 4 output channel.
Okay, wow. So, it'd be great to get some sound of the modular. You've got 3 of the VCO VCFs. Are you treating that as 3 independent voices, 3 voice system like a Minimoog? What's the idea of the layout of the case?
The idea of the layout is basically you can do either polyphonic or monophonic. You can stack them on top. You can use one as a modulator, the other 2 as chords or drones, whatever you like. What we've done here is actually introduced a new line. It's called the Bird's Nest. The Bird's Nest is a series of utility modules and an ecosystem as such. Inside the case, you can see it right now, is a simple 20 by 9 PCB. This PCB has very advanced technology inside it. It's a studio mixer with 16 channels. Now you have 4 auxiliaries. Auxiliary 1 and 3 are summed into L. Auxiliary 2 and 4 are summed to R. And L and R are also summed twice. So basically what you have is the ability to control 16 individual voices inside, sum them all together. And the coolest thing about it is all you need is the PCB and passive modules. A passive module such as this, depending on how you plug it in, is an input or output or distribution. So you can actually use this one as a mixer. What I'm doing here is I'm using a 3 HP mixer. It's a standalone mixer, but it's also connected to the internal mixer.
So you're building your own platform within your rack with a sort of really advanced version of dope for CV and gate pins, but you've got mixing, summing the buses, sends.
Yes, absolutely. That's exactly right. You can also even have sub mixes. You can stack those PCBs on top of each other. Each PCB has dip switches for every input and output channel. So if you stack them using a regular flatband ribbon connector, you can actually connect 2, 3, 4, 5 infinite amounts of PCBs on top of each other, do sub-mixes or large summing channels. It's specifically designed for UREC, so you have UREC levels inside, and it's a very high headroom design.